What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Seeking Brother Husband Season 1, Episode 5, Parents Just Don't Understand. Now, when I say thank you for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review, I really do mean it, because I don't know if anybody's watching this show. I haven't watched other reviewers to see, how the public overall is receiving this show. But so far, to me, Seeking Brother Husband is just not the same as Seeking Sister Wife. I don't know what it was about Seeking Sister Wife, which, as far as I know, it had about 4 or 5 seasons. But it was good. Seeking Sister Wife was really good. It was really, really good. It had a lot of drama to it. It gave us a lot of insight into how these people are living their day-to-day lives, even though they were still seeking other partners. Seeking Brother Husband doesn't give much of the couple's day-to-day lives, or the thruples or whatever. We don't see a lot of their day-to-day lives. Whenever we are watching a scene with any of these families, it's like and I understand the show is Seeking Brother Husband, so the women are actively seeking another partner, and the whole show is centered around that. But I would also like to get a glimpse into, like, just the day-to-day living on what it's like for a woman who is living with more than one husband, more than one man in her home. Like, they wake up in the morning, like, what is that like, when they wake up in the morning, or when they go on vacation, or when they go out to dinner, or when they invite friends over. I want to know, like, the dynamic of everyday living in this type of situation, but we don't get to really see that much, I don't think. So to me, the season has been kind of dry. This franchise has been a little bit dry for me. It's like tumbleweeds. It's not that exciting, because we're not getting, like, what this life is all about. On Seeking Sister Wife, we would see them cooking, getting dinner ready together. We would see them have discussions. We would have discussions about, like, who the man's going to be, sleeping with that night. We saw them go on vacation. We would see how they would interact with their children. It was very in depth, even though the men were still seeking additional wives or additional partners. We still got to see how they live their lives on a day-to-day basis. Seeking Brother Husband really doesn't give a lot of that. So anyway, let's get into it. Alyssa and Michael. So Michael is trying to convince his mother that he is with Alyssa, and that he is still in this marriage with Alyssa voluntarily. That he doesn't feel pressured by Alyssa to stay with him. He doesn't feel any pressure by Alyssa to live this lifestyle, this open relationship lifestyle. Because the mother thinks that he really would not be doing this, but for the fact that somehow Alyssa is making him stay in this marriage. That if he was with anybody else, he would not choose this lifestyle. He's only in this lifestyle because Alyssa is making him live it, because she wants to be polyamorous and he wants to be with her, so he just has to accept the fact that she wants to be polyamorous. And Michael is trying to convince his mom that it's not like that he's with her because he wants to be with her, that there is no pressure, there is no forcing of, there is no manipulation of. He just really wants to be with Alyssa, and he is 100% okay with her seeking other partners. Michael says that this is the happiest that he's ever been. Mike's mom says that she will never support this lifestyle, but she is there for her son. And she says that for herself, she cannot live this lifestyle because in her day, she was busy raising children, busy raising a family to entertain, a multitude of other men and seeking out potential relationships. And so when she brought up this whole thing about how she was busy raising kids and, raising her family, the conversation turned to whether or not Alyssa and Mike would ever have children. So Alyssa and Mike said that they do not plan to have kids, but then Mike qualified that statement by saying, well, not now, maybe later. And Alyssa kind of looked at him like, what are you talking about? We had a discussion and we decided that we never want to have children. And And Mike kind of had this look on his face. Well, and then he says that the topic of children was still open for discussion. Like they have not made any final decisions on that yet, and that it's still open for discussion. So Mike's mom is looking at them, and this just convinces her that Alyssa's the one that makes all the decisions, and Mike just has to follow along. Because it appeared that with Mike, he was willing to, the issue of having children was still open to him. Like he hasn't made up his mind yet on whether or not he would want to have children, and that he's still free to talk about it and to make that decision either now or later. But he's open to having children. And the way that Alyssa just shut it down, it kind of convinced Mike's mom that, yeah, my son is in a relationship where he is being controlled by his wife, and she is the one that makes all the decisions. And it doesn't matter how Mike feels or what Mike wants. Whatever Alyssa wants is what Alyssa gets. So he felt like he had to talk to his mom one-on-one after that fiasco. So he talks to his mom one-on-one, and he tells his mom that, don't worry about me. I really want to be with her, and I'm okay with her being with other men. And the mom still has a problem believing that he is choosing to live this lifestyle for himself. And the mom still believes that if Mike was with any other woman, he would not bring this up. Like if he were to meet another woman, if he wasn't with Alyssa and he was to start a brand new relationship, he's not going to tell his new girlfriend or his new wife, hey, if you want to date other men, that's okay. Or he would not purposely seek women who wanted to have more than one man. So the mom is not convinced that Mike really wants to do this, but she's there for her son, and she supports her son, but she doesn't support this lifestyle, and she very clearly does not support Alyssa. In my personal opinion on this, I feel like he is being controlled by Alyssa. I think that he is so enamored or in love with his wife that he can't see the forest for the tree. And I think that in any other situation, if Alyssa were to tell him, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, I think he'd be okay with it. I don't think that he would feel like, oh, baby, are you sure? Because I think that who you really are is a polyamorous kind of chick, and I don't want you to deny your true self, and I need you to go out there and seek other men. I don't think he would say that at all. I think if Alyssa changed her mind, he would be happy about it. I think if he was with another woman besides Alyssa, he would not encourage this, and he would not seek this out. So, and the thing about children, I think Mike, is holding on to hope that Alyssa's probably going to change her mind at some point, and that they would be able to have children later. I really do believe that. So I'm with Mike's mom on this. And another thing, her parents really didn't do much to strengthen their argument that this was a great lifestyle, that it fit them. It may not fit everybody, but it definitely fit them. And that Mike was in this voluntarily. Her parents were absolutely mum during the whole entire discussion, except when the topic of kids came up. So when the topic of kids came up, of whether or not Mike and Alyssa would ever have children, and Mike said that was still open for discussion, Alyssa's mom actually reacted as if she was excited that there was a possibility of them having kids. And that's the only time that she really said anything, unless they edited out, anything else that she might have said. But that's the only time that she woke up and was participating in the conversation, when she thought there was a possibility of them having children in the future. But other than that, Alyssa's parents really didn't say much to try to convince Mike's mom that, hey, this is good for the kids, and if this is what they want to do, we should support them, and Mike is here because he wants to be, not because he has to be, etc., etc. Moving on to Kenya, Carl, and Tiger. So Kenya and Carl, they're out shopping for things to decorate Tiger's room, because as we all know, Kenya is going to be kicking Tiger out of her bedroom. He's going to have his own room, and she's going to eventually move in her next potential partner, which right now looks like it would be David, her ex, one of her ex-boyfriends. So the way that they're at this store, this department store, looking for things to decorate Tiger's room, they want to make it to where it's inviting for Tiger, to kind of make him feel comfortable in his new room. It kind of reminded me how parents, when it's time for them to kick their toddler out of their room, they want to make the toddler's room seem more inviting. It reminded me of that, of parents trying to convince their toddler child to sleep on their own, to start training them to sleep on their own. It was totally like that. So as they're out there in this department store and they're looking for whatever the hell they're looking for, the sales associate comes up to see if she can help them. And they start off by saying, yes, we're trying to decorate a room because I don't know how it started, but somehow they ended up mentioning to the sales associate that Kenya has two husbands and she's looking for a third. And I'm like, why in the world would you be telling this to strangers? And I understand that it's for the show, it's for a scene, to make it seem as if, Kenya is really open and unashamed of her lifestyle. So she's willing to tell anybody that would listen. But in the real world, I really don't think that she would just be having this conversation with a complete stranger about her lifestyle and her multitude of husbands. I just don't think so. Not with strangers. I mean, nobody's asking, so why are you volunteering this information? They could have just said, yeah, we're just trying to decorate a spare room or an extra room that we have in our home, or we're trying to decorate a room for a friend. You don't have to go into, yes, we're decorating a room for my other husband because I'm still looking for a third husband to join me in my room. Come on, girl. That just wouldn't happen in the real world. So, Kenya and Carl are having a conversation about Tiger, and Carl is like advocating hard for Tiger. He's telling Kenya that Tiger is feeling very left out and that he really wants to have this ceremony so that he can feel like that there's some type of a commitment between him and Kenya as she's moving on to explore other partners. And Kenya receives the information and she makes a mental note that she will do something to reassure Tiger that she still loves him and he's not going anywhere and that he's not being replaced. So later on, we see Kenya and Tiger. They're taking a walk, and Tiger wants to know, what's the real deal with David? What's really going on between you and David? Is he really a strong potential? And Kenya says, yeah, David is a strong potential and that he may actually be moving in. They haven't really come to that part yet, her and David, but there's a very strong possibility that David might be moving in. And of course, Tiger feels very threatened by that. And he was like, so this is the reason why you're trying to kick me out of the bedroom. It's because you want to move this new guy in. And Kenya tells him it's got nothing to do. You leaving my bedroom has got nothing to do with David. It's about our relationship. And I didn't believe her. I didn't believe her for 1 second. But she's like, this is about our relationship and the fact that our relationship has changed. It's not so hot and heavy anymore. The chemistry really isn't there anymore. And I just want my own space. Girl, bye. You know damn well that you're kicking Tiger out so you can move a real lion in. So Kenya says, so then, to make him feel safe and to reassure him that he's not being replaced and he's not being kicked out of the house, just the bedroom, she gets on one knee and she asks him if he will have a commitment ceremony with her. I was like, okay, girl, you're putting 20 on 10. You don't have to do all of that. Why can't you just tell him, oh, remember how you wanted to have a commitment ceremony? Okay, I've thought about it. And yes, we can go ahead and do that. What are we doing with this whole getting on one knee and putting the ring on his finger? It was just all for dramatics and I was not impressed. Moving on to Shara, Patrick, and Noble. So Shara is still seeing Valentino, which I was kind of surprised because I thought that with her wanting to have a child and him not wanting to have a child and then the whole long distance thing, I thought that relationship was over. But no, they're still seeing each other and it's been about 2 months. And I guess he's come to Atlanta to see her or wherever the hell she lives. And they're out hiking and she says that she tells him that she still really wants to have a baby with Valentino. I think Valentino, he's not like a hard no as he was before. I think he's going to consider it and think about it because he's really digging Shara how they want us to believe that he's really digging her, and so that he's willing to consider having a kid with her. But he tells her once again that his lifestyle right now really does not allow him to like raise and nurture a child because he's so busy with his business. So I don't know how they're going to work around that, and also with the fact that it's long distance. And so they were talking about how often that they would see each other, and how they're going to try to make it work. They're going to try to put in the effort to really make it work, to continue to see each other, even though it's long distance. And I don't really see this happening for too long. I think that one of them needs to make a decision. Either one of them, they're going to, move to be in one state, in one neighborhood, or in one home, or it's just not going to work. I don't think long distance relationships can really work like that. Especially, now that she wants to have a kid and all of that, I don't think it would work. But anyways, moving on. She also wants to break up with Noble, and because there's just no spark there anymore. Her feelings for Noble have changed. She just doesn't have any feelings for him anymore, and she'd rather spend her extra energy on Valentino. So she meets up with Noble at the comic book store, and she tells Noble that she did find someone else, and she's really into him. He's really into her, and it seems like they're going to make a go at it. And Noble asks her, well, what does Patrick think? And Shara says Patrick loves him. Patrick thinks he's great for me. And so that leaves Noble out. So she tells him, that it's not going to work out anymore between them, and that, they can still be friends. And he says that he feels like he's being swiped out for someone else. So basically he feels like I'm not even being treated like a human. You're just replacing me like the way you would replace a worn out light bulb. I'm not as shiny and as pretty anymore. So now you're going to swipe me out with something better. And yeah, he was hurt by that. And she was hurt that he was hurt, because then she started crying because she tells us that she doesn't want to make him feel bad, and she doesn't want to be responsible for someone else, feeling like they're being swiped out. But she's not budging. As bad as she feels about breaking up with him, she for sure is not budging. So she tells him, well, we can still be friends. And he tells us that there's really no point in them being friends. I guess if he can't get, if he can't get to the goods, he ain't interested. So he was like, I'm gonna pass on the whole friendship thing. Moving on to Kim, Dustin, and Vincent. So she's FaceTiming her brother, and she's telling her brother about how she's looking for another partner, and her second husband is really not feeling it. So they're having a conversation about that, and then they start talking about their parents. And evidently Kim's parents are not down with the cause. They do not support her lifestyle. They don't like it. They grew up very, very Christian, and her parents think that she's committing a sin. So they're not in support of it. They're not in support of her. They're not down with this at all. And her brother, I think his name is Mikey, she says that he's the only one out of her family, her immediate family, that really shows her any type of support at all. The only one that she feels comfortable enough to talk to about her situation. So she plans to invite her whole entire family, her mom, her dad, and her siblings, to her home for a cookout. And I don't know if she was able to talk to them directly, or if she had Mikey invite everybody on her behalf. I don't know. But the day of the cookout, the doorbell rings, and it's just Mikey there. No other family members came. It was just Mikey. And I think she had probably three or four other siblings and her parents, and none of them showed up. So she did feel some kind of way, but she was going to make the best of it. So her, Mikey, her husband Dustin, and her son, they enjoyed the cookout without everybody else. And they made the best of it, and it was what it was. And she just feels really sad that her parents are that her family is very judgy about her lifestyle. And, she's still the same Kim. It's just that, she has the ability to love more than one man, and more than one man have the ability to love her. And I was like, what's wrong with that? So it was really sad, the fact that she doesn't have her family support, and that her relationship with her family right now is very much estranged, because they just can't get down with the get down. So that is my review. This episode was really blasé. Not really much was going on. It's just, this Seeking Brother Husband just does not have the pizzazz of Seeking Sister Wife. I remember on Seeking Sister Wife, I forgot everybody's name because I'm horrible with names, but we had that one family. It was the black guy. He had the dreads. We can't say dreads anymore. What are they called? Locks. I think we say locks. He had the locks in his hair, and his wife had locks, and they had two little girls. And then he was communicating with a young lady in South Africa, and then another young lady in America, and both of them ended up moving in with them. And the lady in South Africa had a child. No, she had two children, I think. So the lady in South Africa, she came down to America to live with them with her two kids, and the other lady also came down to live with them. I mean, that particular season, or seasons, because I think they were on it more than one season, it was so good. It was really, really, really good. And I think there was another family I think it was the same family with the locks. there was also another, I forgot, but anyways, it was really good. And there was that one family, they were kind of very, I think they were like more religious, because the two wives were always wearing the long dresses and they had the long hair. And they were looking for a third wife as well. But we got to see like the everyday living of these families, to kind of get an idea of what it's like. And like I said, when they're seeking a wife, when a man is seeking multiple wives, there's like a purpose to it. You know, they want to expand their family, have a whole bunch of kids. Supposedly this is what the Bible says that you should do. I don't know. But then seeking brother husband is kind of like, why would men want to share one woman? Because it can't be for the sake of expanding the family. Other than the situation with Noble and Patrick and Shara, because she really wants to have a baby. But it's not for the sake of like having a big family, or and then I don't know. I just don't understand the purpose of a woman living with multiple men. Your girl Kenya makes it seem as if, oh, I want to do this because I like the attention that, you know, these men give me, and, you know, they spoil me, and I have a whole bunch of honeys to do my honey-do list. It's kind of like she's using them as her servants or something, or as her slaves or something, you know, to be all like, oh, they do this and that for me, and I'm just the queen that sits on her throne. I'm being pampered. I guess, you know, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. And if you like this content, please go ahead and subscribe. And I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.